Federal government, state governments agree to establish state police as President Tinubu directs security agencies to go after hoarders of commodities. Police arrest 15 suspected bandits and kidnappers in Sokoto State. Weeks after CBN and FAN relocation, Petroleum Commission moves to transfer department to Lagos. On the international scene, mortar bomb kills 2, injures 3 South African soldiers in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Hello and welcome to Trust News Hour. I am Sumaya Abubakar. We start with security. The federal government is discussing modalities on setting up police, that's the state police, with the state governors in a bid to arrest the insecurity in the country. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Muhammad Idris, revealed this to newsmen at the State House, Abuja, after a meeting between President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the 36 state governors. Kende Amodu reports.
2 issues have dominated these discussions: harmonizing tactics to arrest the spiraling insecurity across the country and strategies to crash the price of food items. Despite evidence to the contrary, Minister of Information says the President and state governors agree that there is a significant improvement in the security situation around the country.
The governors, including the governor of Plateau State, has also attested to the fact that despite all the challenges that we are having, there appears to be improvement in security in these areas. Of course, like I said, the situation has not been completely been solved. The security situation has not been completely solved, but we are seeing a positive movement towards a secure Nigeria.
But the level of insecurity is serious enough for the federal government to significantly shift its stand on state police.
This is still going to be further discussed. A lot of work has to be done in that direction, but both the federal government and the state governments are agreeing to the necessity of having state police. Now, this is a significant shift, but like I said, more work needs to be done in that direction.
But the government's biggest headache right now is the staggering prices of food. To this end, the National Security Advisor, the Director General of State Services, and Inspector General of Police have been directed to coordinate with state governors to fish out those hoarding commodities. Despite the seriousness of the situation, the agreement at this meeting is that there will be no need for food importation at this point.
Nigeria has the potential to feed itself and even be a next exporter of food items to other countries. And we do not also want to reverse some of the progress we have seen in terms of food production in this country. What we are seeing now is just a temporary difficulty that will soon go away.
A lot of meetings will have to happen between the federal government and the subnationals to perfect the modalities of achieving state police. In addition to this, parties have agreed to set up a joint program to ensure that unemployment is reduced among the youth population to reduce insecurity at the roots. From State House, Abuja, Kende Amodu, Trust TV News.
Police authorities in Sokoto State have arrested 15 suspected bandits and kidnappers allegedly terrorizing communities in Tambuwal, Wamako and Gwadabawa local government area of the state. Addressing a press conference on Thursday, the Sokoto Police Commissioner Ali Kaigama said 1 general-purpose machine gun, 3 AK-47 rifles, and 912 live ammunition were recovered from the suspects. The commissioner said 1 suspected bandit, Ibrahim Bello, was arrested in Gigani village, Gwadabawa local government area after the police foiled the kidnapped mission. He added that 8 suspected kidnappers in possession of 3 AK-47 rifle and 90 rounds of ammunition were apprehended along Bodinga-Tambuwal Highway on their way to Tambuwal town for operation. Kaigama stated that 4 suspected kidnappers who collected 30 million naira ransom for the 3 kidnapped victims in Gedawa, Wamako local government area in December last year were also arrested.
At about 20-30 hours, acted on credible intelligence, led ambush along Bodinga-Tambuwal Highway. Arrested the following suspects. 1. Abdullahi Ali, 50 years, male of Gadabawa local government. 2. Aliu Mohammed, 35 years, M of Achida, Urno local government. 3. 4. Aliu Abdullahi, 28 years of age, from Amali in Kware local government area. 5. Mohammed Anas, 30 years of age, of Shuni in Dengeshuni local government. 7. Jamilu B. Yusuf, Aka, doctor, 35 years of age, of Badong Hanyas, Sokoto.
Seasonal migration in northern Nigeria, which involves the movement of people to various urban centers for greener pastures, has remained a tradition among many in the region. The tradition, which is popularly known as Chinrani in the Hausa community, makes many people settle permanently in their destination. But some of the migrants, like Umar Garba, who is a polythene bags vendor in Gombe, are still going back to their village in Sokoto, where he is serving as vigilante to protect his people against bandit attacks. Hassan Koli reports.
As a polythene bags vendor, Umar Garba, a seasonal migrant from Gaukai Ward of Salami local government area of Sokoto State, is making a living in Gombe. Like most seasonal migrants, 37-year-old Umar said he is coming to Gombe during the dry season to earn a means of livelihood, as there is little or nothing to do in his community during this period of the year. I am a polythene bags vendor. When I come here and transact, I will be able to take care of myself while still sending money for my family too. While distributing polythene bags to small business owners and individuals, Umar is visiting his town occasionally, serving his community as vigilante to protect their village against bandits' attack. I have to go back home on several occasions for farming and most importantly to protect my village against bandits, because we are facing security issues and we must protect ourselves. The government cannot do anything to protect us as it has many issues to deal with. Like many others, Umar's journey began in search of employment opportunities, often traveling long distances to find work during dry seasons. In a world of constant change and uncertainty, Umar's story serves as a reminder of the resilience found in the human spirit. Hassan Koli, Trust TV News, Gombe.
Residents of Kaduna State have been reacting to the statement by the Sultan of Sokoto, Sa'ad Abubakar III, that Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder following the economic and security challenges bedeviling the nation. Taken serious by the government in order to address the challenges Nigerians are faced with. Now, Trust TV's Bello Musa, who spoke with some residents within the Kaduna metropolis, reports that they are calling on the government to take the Sultan's message seriously and address the menace of insecurity and surging prices of foodstuff. The report.
The statement by the Sultan of Sokoto that Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder comes at a time when the cost of living is biting hard in the country, with Nigerians battling to survive due to the persistent increase in the price of foodstuffs.
Of course, we are facing socio-economic precarious in Nigeria. So my own take is that you see poor policy articulation and implementation is one of the major factors that's causing all these problems we are facing.
A lot of people in Zamfara, in Katsina, in Sokoto no longer goes to farm. The same thing in Benue. and that is why you can see food prices are escalating. So you have
look how, okay, you see the masses are complaining about fuel, or they are complaining of transport. The rich man too is complaining of fuel.
The residents also suggest measures that can ease the hardship among the masses.
You have to go back to the basics. What are the basics? Shore up the naira, create job employment, make sure that food scarcity is reduced, import food if you need to import, then allow for farmers to go back to farm. Fertilizers, supply fertilizers, provide adequate security so that farmers can feel free and go to farm and all this.
The APC in the Northwest meanwhile says the current hardship in the country is an act of sabotage by those who don't mean well for the country.
I want to appeal to the public. The hardship in the country is real. We, the APC, we never deny it, and we are equal to the task to come out and say the truth even to our government. And I even want to call the attention of our government from the presidency to the party leadership that let's go back to their drawing board, political drawing board.
What is the government supposed to do? Take up immediate measure. Open the borders. Open the borders so that people can eat. That is the problem we have. If you say all the Bretton Woods economics, whatever, had not worked in the Nigerian context, if you open the border, oh, you bring it cheap goods and services, or if you open the border, cheap textile material coming from China, or if you open the border, all that. But you are not producing.
Nigerians are still waiting to see the measures government will take to address the economic challenges in order to ease the hardship the common man is facing. Bella Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
The construction sector in Nigeria has been hit by an unprecedented surge in the prices of building materials, with cement prices hitting an all-time high of 9,000 naira. The situation has rattled the builders and related businesses in the sector, with many wondering what happens next. Victoria Tokolo visited a cement trading center in Lagos and brings us the challenges and struggles faced by the sand and iron vendors. Her report is presented from our studio. Take a look.
The construction sector in Nigeria is facing severe challenges as the cost of building materials skyrockets and negatively impacting builders nationwide. In the cement area of Lagos State, renowned for offering quality and affordable building materials, these recent price hikes have brought the building industry to a standstill. Business owners in the block-making sector, choosing to remain anonymous, have expressed disappointment with the scarcity and rising cost of cement in the state. The price of a bag of cement has surged from 5,200 naira to 9,000 naira. Similarly, the cost of a bag of sand, once 250 naira, has tripled to 800 naira, further exacerbating the situation for those in the construction business in Lagos State.
Before it was 600 naira, but now it's 800 naira. There's not much of challenges there based on the using stuff. Before they are buying this maybe 1,000 naira, but now it's 1,350. That's just the challenges we are facing.
And we used to buy the power of sand 20 tons, 80,000 before, but now it's now 140,000. That's the best of it. The sharp sand, we used to buy sharp sand 90,000 before, but sharp sand now is now around 70,000. 20 tons. The granite is 480,000 at the trailer. We are selling the bag of it 1,400. Before we used to buy it 350,000, and there that time we are selling it 900 naira a bag.
The situation is not different among other vendors too. According to cement block molders, the price of a 9-inch block is 600 naira, while a 6-inch block is priced at 500 naira. In terms of tiles for floors and roofs, the prices vary. The 60 by 60 tiles are priced at 6,500 naira and 5,500 naira respectively, while square meter tiles range from 4,500 naira to 14,500 naira for Italian tiles. Additionally, the prices of sanitary wares, including Nigerian and foreign bathroom and kitchen taps, have escalated due to exchange rate fluctuations.
Well, the bag of nail is 10,000, 9,000, but now it's 17,000. We are selling kilo 200, but now it's 500 naira per kilo, and it's not moving like before. When you tell them price, they will pick race. They will not wait. So it's very, very high now. It's too much. Things are too much. People are shouting.
Vendors in the building materials sector argue that a reduction in the country's fuel prices by the government will lead to a decrease in the prices of all commodities.
In a press conference held in Abuja on Thursday, presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 election, Peter Obi, alongside his crowdfunding management team, refuted allegations of misappropriation of campaign funds. Obi emphasized transparency and accountability by announcing the engagement of a reputable audit firm to investigate any claims of misappropriation, ensuring the proper utilization of the funds raised. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
Embattled National Chairman of the Labour Party, Julius Abure, was recently accused of diverting and mismanaging campaign funds for the 2023 presidential election. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, was also accused of misappropriating the sum of 3.5 billion naira donated for the campaign. The currently credibility and integrity crisis in the party has engulfed key players, including the team lead for the campaign crowdfunding, Aisha Yusufu. To set the record straight, the allegations diminishing the Labour Party's reputation. The Peter Obi presidential campaign team is now opening its books to the public as a transparency measure to address unverified allegations.
In fact, one of the people who mentioned said we received about $150 million. Let me categorically state it that all the funds received directly or indirectly from diaspora is not up to not up to 1% of what is mentioned. And this, some of it are part of what have been exchanged and given to Aisha.
As they roll out figures of the money generated for the campaign, the crowdfunding team also provided lines of procurement and other expenditures.
What we received specifically was this particular amount, let me repeat it once again, 595 million naira, 976,000 naira, 994 naira. We also received 800 million naira from the candidate himself. And I know some might wonder, how did we know that these monies were from the candidate? How were we able to differentiate them? These were monies that were put in by the candidate that were supposed to be used to pay for the polling agents. So we knew that they came in 4 tranches of 200 million naira each, and that was what gave the total of 800 million naira from the candidate.
We also adopted a framework to ensure disbursed funds were used judiciously. Very important. We want to ensure that when we give resources to vendors, people who worked on the project, that they use these funds judiciously. We adopted that process. Then fund disbursements were made with approval from His Excellency and told our signatories to provide constant oversight. So whatever decision we took in terms of disbursing funds, we are made with the full acknowledgement of His Excellency and also signatories to the account. So no funds left the account without the approval of His Excellency.
The Labour Party has been embroiled in a series of controversies since its outing in the 2023 elections. Its power struggle from within the party led to factionalization of its leadership structure. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, Zach Adedeji, says the 2.59 trillion naira tax credit scheme introduced by former President Muhammadu Buhari's administration for road construction across the country was illegal and should be scrapped. The scheme was introduced through Executive Order 7 of 2021 by the Buhari-led administration. Representatives of both the FIRS and the NNPCL spoke when they appeared before the Senate Committee on Finance, chaired by Senator Sani Musa. The report.
The Musa-led committee had invited the FIRS and NNPCL to shed light on implementation of the scheme in view of the poor state of federal roads across the country.
In terms of how much the loan is, yes, it's very affordable, it's very competitive, and if well utilized, it will give value for what it has been taken for.
Criticizing the scheme, the FIRS chairman identified lapses in the areas of project monitoring, budgetary allocations, and releases of funds. He challenged the Federal Ministry of Works to be alive to its responsibilities and assured that he will tutor officials of the ministry on principles of financial management during their next interface.
Ministry of Works should focus on awarding the road, make sure they monitor the road, and when it is time for payment, they send the money, the request for payment to Akala General. Akala General pays the money, deduct the taxes that they should deduct, and now when you ask questions on how the payment, the Ministry of Work can come, okay, this is what we do, and they will be the one to answer.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited cleared the air on a $3.3 billion loan facility secured for the Central Bank of Nigeria for stabilization of the naira in the foreign exchange market.
This is a pre-export financing, and it's basically a forward sale of crude oil over the next 5 years, for which we receive money upfront. We receive that money upfront because we pledge the barrels we pledge are PSC barrels, and PSC barrels belong to the Federation.
Impressed by his submission, the chairman of the committee said relevant provisions of the 1999 Constitution, as amended, are against the scheme, as monies the NNPC and FIRS spent on roads through tax credit are supposed to be remitted into the Consolidated Revenue Fund.
Every revenue accruing to the government should go to the Consolidated Revenue Fund. Notwithstanding, even if NNPC is a limited liability company. And if we go on this trajectory, we are creating a precedent. A situation where NNPC are supposed to concentrate more. Are we going to call this part of their corporate responsibility, social responsibility? No.
The road infrastructure tax credit, which can be claimed in any year of assessment, is limited to 50% of the annual CIT liability. There is, however, no limit to the tax credit, which can be claimed in respect of an eligible road in an economically disadvantaged area. Meanwhile, a bill for an act to establish the Northwest Development Commission has passed through second reading in the Senate. In his argument, the sponsor of the bill and Deputy Senate President Barau Jibrin noted that it was expedient to establish the commission as it will serve as a catalyst to develop the potentials of the Northwest as well as address the gap in infrastructural development of the region.
The bill seeks to provide for the establishment of Northwest Development Commission to act as a catalyst to develop the areas of potentials of the Northwest, as well as address the gap in infrastructural development of the region. The Northwest Geographical Zone as a region has contributed immensely to the overall development of Nigeria in terms of agriculture and other areas of endeavor.
Other lawmakers who supported the bill argued that the commission will address the growing challenges of youth development, instability and insecurity, which have caused industries to exit states like Kano and Kaduna in droves.
So for us, development anywhere in this country is development everywhere. So I'm not lobbying you to accept. I will still put the question. But my opinion is that I'm a lover of development.
20 million people out of school. We can't afford this. And we have the capacity, Mr. President, to put these children into schools.
Senator Ifeanyi Uba, who also voiced support for the bill, is intensifying advocacy for the Southeast Development Commission, which has now passed its first reading. The bill has been referred to the Committee on Special Duties for further legislative action.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, has called for a strategic partnership with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in order to bolster investment opportunities in Nigeria. During a courtesy call on him by the Saudi Arabia-Nigerian Parliamentary Friendship Group on Wednesday, the Speaker, who acknowledged the long-standing diplomatic ties between Nigeria and Saudi Arabia spanning over 25 years, advocated for increased collaboration in trade and investment, tourism, oil and gas, and infrastructure. The report.
Represented by his deputy Benjamin Kalu, the Speaker emphasized the need for robust collaboration across various sectors, including trade and investment and tourism. Addressing the disparity in the volume of trade concerning mineral resources, the Speaker called for a balance in trade between both countries, emphasizing Nigeria's determination to grow its gross domestic product. In his presentation, the acting chairman of the group and leader of the delegation, Abdullah Hamad Al-Salama, said their mission is to seek new ways to strengthen the partnership with Nigeria for mutual benefit, as well as explore future bilateral relations with the two countries.
The President has preached this over and over again, that Nigeria is ready for investment. So the Parliament is partnering with Mr. President to ensure that those who want to make an investment in this country, please encourage them when you go back to the kingdom, that the President is ready, the Parliament is ready, our laws are ready. Anyone that is not ready will make it ready by fine-tuning it to enable your investment make sense to you as an investor.
Our king and the crown prince especially put so many emphasis and strengthen our relation. We look to the country as a strategic partner. Nigeria is very important, very valuable country in its people, in its government, its land, its everything that we are really proud of. Therefore, we are looking to see this country in more prosperity, in more economic prosperity.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has resolved to urge the Federal Ministry of Finance and Central Bank of Nigeria to provide adequate notice to stakeholders in the maritime industry and the public before altering customs exchange rate, as it ensures transparency and allows stakeholders to prepare for any changes that may affect their operations. It also urged the Central Bank of Nigeria to maintain the system exchange rate for customs duty and excise duty purposes below 1,000 naira to the dollar to encourage patronage in the Nigerian ports and prevent galloping inflation. These were the resolutions reached following a motion entitled "Need to Rescue the Nigerian Economy from Imminent Collapse and Restore Investors' Confidence in the System." The motion was raised during plenary by Leke Abejide, the member representing Yagba East Federal Constituency of Kogi State. Abejide, while raising the motion, expressed concern that the Central Bank of Nigeria has raised customs tariffs 6 times in the past 6 months, causing inflation and disrupting import and excise duty calculations, which businesses rely on for planning.
Urge the Federal Ministry of Finance and Central Bank of Nigeria to provide adequate notice to stakeholders in the maritime industry and the general public before altering custom exchange rates. This ensures transparency and allows stakeholders to prepare for any changes that may affect their operations.
The House therefore adopted the motion without debate and mandated its committees on customs and excise, finance and banking regulations to interface with the Ministry of Finance, Central Bank of Nigeria Governor and Comptroller General of the Nigeria Customs on how fixed exchange rates for customs and excise duties will work for the system to boost exports and encourage patronage in the nation's ports.
This is News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up, stakeholders encourage blood donation to save lives during emergencies. This and more after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust TV. Here's a recap of our top stories. Federal government and state governments agreed to establish state police as President Tinubu directs security agencies to go after hoarders of commodities. And police arrest 15 suspected bandits and kidnappers in Sokoto State. Moving on to more stories, Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum has distributed 225 million naira and food items to over 70,000 households in the local government of Bama in Zamfara, or in Borno State, I beg your pardon. The governor also commissioned projects such as the remodeled international market, teachers' estates, and also performed the foundation laying for the international cattle market in Banki town. Trust TV's Beatrice Kurutsi has more.
The trip to Bama community is part of the state government's effort to provide palliatives to vulnerable families in the local government area. Besides engaging with security agencies on improving the security situation, Governor Zulum oversaw the distribution of food items to more than 70,000 people. The food packages distributed include bags of maize and rice and cash.
We must look at indiscriminate purchase of food items by vendors. We shall stop it. This is something that we must look into it. People are coming to buy the food items and then hoarding the food items. So this has to be stopped.
The governor also commissioned the teachers' estate and newly reconstructed Banki International Market that was destroyed by Boko Haram terrorists. The remodeled market at the border with Cameroon comprises 128 shops and 440 stalls, while the teachers' housing estate has 5 units with a befitted 2-bedroom bungalow. Meanwhile, Governor Zulum flagged off the construction of an international cattle market in Banki town. He called on neighboring countries of Chad, Niger, and Cameroon to partner with Borno State in promoting trans-border trade in the region, explaining that it will bring economic development across the 3 countries.
Let's work together to be working in nostalgic moments of those days where these communities were opening hubs of commerce. Let me use this opportunity to warn all those paramilitaries that are working with this bank that they should do everything possible to enhance and promote trans-border trade. And main object and visit, it is such a great honor to share my views as we get ready for the commissioning ceremony and formal reopening of the Bank International Market, which is one of the major projects we announced accomplished when I visited Maiduguri in my capacity as president of the Government Forum of the Nigerian.
On the cattle market, which was destroyed at the peak of the insurgency and halted business activities in the region, the Borno State government said it will be reconstructed to meet international standards. Beatrice Kurutsi, Trust TV News, Maiduguri.
Meanwhile, the Borno State government has assured of supporting survivors of insurgency with humanitarian needs, anti-stigmatization laws, economic empowerment, access to healthcare services, as well as psychological support to enable them fully reintegrate into the society. The Borno State Commissioner of Women and Social Development, Hajia Zuwaira Gambo, disclosed this at the public presentation of Charter of Demand from Survivors, Victims, and the Radicalized Women in Maiduguri. She said the Borno model concept of the state government, which facilitated the surrender of more than 80,000 insurgents, as well as the reintegration and rehabilitation of 7,000 repentant terrorists into communities, will address the needs of survivors and victims of insurgency. Meanwhile, the Executive Director of Alamin Foundation for Peace and Development, Hajia Hamsatu Alamin, emphasized the need for human rights, gender equality, and support for survivors and victims.
What I can say is a plus to Borno State that there is a documented requirement by these groups of vulnerable women and girls on their specific needs to every stakeholder, so that collectively, what are we doing? We are all doing to complement trying and then struggling to complement what the government is doing. And lucky for us, we have a listening governor, a proactive governor who has taken upon himself to, in fact, face this overwhelming situation and then do his best. Therefore, the best we can do is now be organized and then bring what we need, not only to the government, but I think this Charter of Demands is also a clarion call to the larger society, so that collectively as individuals and organizations, we can come in and then to support laudable efforts of the government, of the governor who is the chief security officer of the state, so that we, in fact, we are assured of non-repeatance of what has happened, and then non-occurrence of the issues that we have faced, and then a recognition that we are victims, we are survivors, we are radicalized women, and now these are our demands, seeking people so that they can respond to our needs.
Carrying them alone is not going to be a problem, and we already have a collaboration with traditional rulers, with religious leaders and other stakeholders. So it's just a continuity of what the government is doing. And I want to assure you that all the issues raised in the Charter of Demand, either related even to the military, because there's a lot of cooperation going on between the Borno State government and all the military and paramilitary services in the state. And then when you talk about with the traditional rulers, the issue of stigmatization, we have desk officers, we have a template on ground that involves every stakeholder in Borno when it comes to this DDRR, reintegration, reconciliation, and promoting peace and security in Borno State.
A British national, James Nolan, who reportedly jumped bail in 2022 in a $9.6 billion PNID fraud in Nigeria, has been arrested by Interpol. Nolan, a director of the Process and Industrial Development Limited, was arrested by International Criminal Police Organization on January 27th while on visit to his wife, who is an Italian. Nolan is a key figure in the controversial gas supply processing agreement, which was signed in 2010. He was initially granted bail in the sum of 500 million naira following his arraignment at a federal high court in Abuja in November 2019, where he pleaded not guilty to the charges against him. However, due to his inability to meet the bail conditions, the bail amount was later reduced to 100 million naira. After perfecting his bail conditions, however, he failed to appear in court for trial since 2022. His bail was revoked in September 28, 2022 by another court, where he was also facing legal proceedings. The federal government has discontinued the trial of the presidential candidate of the African Action Congress, AAC, Omoyele Sowore, and his co-defendant, Olawale Bakare, also known as Mandate. The decision to discontinue the trial was communicated to the Federal High Court in Abuja via a notice of discontinuance dated February 14th, but filed the next day by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi. The notice indicates that the move is according to Section 174, subsection 1C of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, and Section 107, subsection 1 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015. Sowore and Bakare were arraigned before the Federal High Court Abuja in 2019 following a protest rally he staged in Abuja and tagged Revolution Now. Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court Abuja had earlier threatened to strike out the treason charge filed against him if the Nigerian government was not ready to go on with the case 5 years later. There is a growing concern over rampant cases of sexual and gender-based violence against girls and women with disabilities in Osun State. Now, this has prompted the setting up of a task force comprising key stakeholders in the state to ensure arrest and prosecution of the perpetrators. Hamid Oyegbade files the report.
The issue of sexual and gender-based violence against girls and women with disabilities in Osun State is disheartening. It is worrisome that most of such cases were not reported and perpetrators are allowed to go unpunished while the helpless victims grapple with the consequences.
Because of our condition, they can go to that place to do so many things that is not good to person with disability, which is not okay.
Many women and girls with disabilities were raped by people around them, and such cases were not reported because they were settled as family matters.
A lot of assault, sexual and gender-based violence, rape, and a lot of harassment against women and girls with disability. That's why we said we should call all key stakeholders to come to our aid so that we will reduce or even eradicate this kind of practice.
Key stakeholders and the state have resolved to work together to strengthen the existing sexual and gender-based violence prevention and response structure for women and girls with disabilities.
One is increased awareness so that there's prevention and less occurrences of abuses, the different forms of abuses. Now the focus, like I said, is also on women and girls with disabilities. The second thing is to try to strengthen the institutional framework, coordination and collaboration, so that the response system, which can also serve as a preventive system, is effective.
You know, most of this violence takes place at the community level, sometimes intimate partner violence and all that. So individuals taking it upon themselves to be like watchdog to persons with disabilities at the community level, it will go a long way.
This government takes zero tolerance to crime, especially sexual crime or violence against female. So we take strict exceptions to it. So everything we need to do just to make Osun to be a safer place for everybody, we're going to, key into same.
Officials of the Osun State Ministry of Justice, Women Affairs and Health, Police and Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, civil societies and community leaders, after a town hall meeting in Osogbo, set up a task force to ensure arrest and prosecution of perpetrators. Amid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
In health matters, the need to promote the importance of blood donation and its role in saving lives has been described as a collective responsibility for all. Stakeholders at a recent event in Lagos said sustained advocacy for increased blood donation will reduce cases of fatalities among patients requiring the blood transfusion. The report.
According to stakeholders, the act of blood donation should not be limited to the annual World Blood Day, but should be embraced as a routine commitment to saving lives.
The selling of blood be a thing of forgotten in our country. We know that the health sector is not working well, the education sector is not working well, but the little we can actually do as an individual, do your part and just leave the rest.
It's safe to donate twice a year, and if not twice a year, you can donate once a year. It's not only on World Blood Donation Day. You can donate in as much as you are healthy and you are nowhere found with any of the blood diseases.
Several youth who turned out to donate blood highlighted the community's engagement in this life-saving endeavor.
Blood is very good to me personally. I find it very easy to do that anytime, let me say 3 months. If I'm chance.
Stakeholders and medical professionals believe that if the Nigerian populace mobilizes en masse to donate blood, it will significantly contribute to saving the lives of individuals in need, particularly those battling leukemia.
The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission is currently considering relocating some of its units to Lagos. According to a memo dated February 14, 2024, the decision was to enhance its service delivery, reduce operational costs, and make adequate utilization of its assets in Lagos. The memo was signed by Kelechi Oyekachi Ofoegbu on behalf of the Commission. The development comes on the heels of the recent relocation of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, the FAN, headquarters to Lagos. Now let's join Yusuf Akogu for more business update.
Welcome to Business News. I am Yusuf Akogu. Nigeria's headline inflation rate for January 2024 increased to 29.90% compared to 28.92% recorded in December 2023. The January 2024 Consumer Price Index rate showed an increase of 0.98 percentage points. Data by the National Bureau of Statistics showed that the new figure was triggered by food inflation. Food inflation rate in January 2024 was 35.41% on a year-on-year basis, which was 11.10% higher compared to the 24.32% recorded in January 2023. The rise in food inflation was caused by increase in prices of bread and cereals, potatoes, yam and other tubers, oil and fat, fish, among others. Africa's largest oil refinery, Dangote Refinery, is set to issue tenders to sell its first 2 fuel cargoes for exports. This marks a crucial step for the newly commissioned facilities and has generated buzz in the industry. According to a report, the first cargo is 65,000 metric tons of low-sulfur straight-run fuel oil, which Dangote has awarded to Trafigura and is due to load at the end of February. The second tender is for about 60,000 tons of naphtha. This is coming shortly after a report that the refinery is preparing to deliver its first fuel cargoes to the domestic market within weeks. Nigeria expects the cost of PMS to reduce, with Dangote and Port Harcourt refineries set to begin domestic supplies. The average price of sugar in Nigeria has surged to its highest value in 5 years in December 2023. Data from the National Sugar Development Council said the average price of sugar rose by 98% in the full year of 2023 to 1.2 million naira per metric ton in December 2023 from 625,000 in January. On a year-on-year basis, the average price of sugar surged 96% to 1.2 million metric ton in the last week of December 2023 from 631,200 in the corresponding period of 2022. Today, Africa's most populous country grapple with accelerating inflation spearheaded by surging prices in food and beverages. The average sugar price closed at 273,040 naira per metric ton in the last week of December 2019, a 354% increase in the same period of 2023. Now to food commodities. Food prices continue to soar as President Bola Tinubu summons the 36 state governors to an emergency meeting in Abuja. Let's see how the prices are looking at today. We look at the price of fish indeed, looking at catfish there. Fresh fish, if you want to get it, you need to spend at least 5,500 naira for fresh catfish. The Titus fish as well, 1 kilo is going for 4,000 naira. Of course, golden pompano, 1 pieces, if you want to get it, you need to spend at least 6,000 naira. Depends on your location. Stockfish size 3 is going for 17,000 naira. Of course, smoked mangala fish, 3 sticks there is selling for 2,800 naira. Look at the prices of meat and see how it's going on there across the country. 1 kilo of cow meat is going for 3,800 naira, depending on your location. Or ram meat as well, 1 kilo, 5,200. Goat meat, 1 kilo as well, 3,200 naira. Of course, chicken, 1 kilo is going for 4,000 naira. Turkey, 1 kilo is being sold for nearly 6,000 naira. That is 5,800 naira. A very huge amount there, you will say. Then from food commodities, now move quickly to the stock market. Of course, stock trading activities in the Nigerian equities market closed positive today, Thursday, inspired by investors' love for equities. Buying interest in industrial and banking equities supported the growth recorded by bulls in the late trade, ensuring that the bulls maintain control of the market. We'll look at some of the key performance there we're seeing today from the gaining table here. You have the like of UPL gaining 9.96%. Julie, that's been there for a very long time, recording another 9.84% today. Of course, mutual benefit, an insurance company, gaining 9.38% as well. We look at how that has moved the market. Has moved the market to 0.58% at the end of the trading day today. Of course, over 1,000 basis points were added to the all-share index. A market cap 56.964 trillion there. Volume of trade tools 75.905 million. Value at 6.703 billion naira. And of course, in terms of deals, 8,049 did exchange hands among investors today. Of course, the top trading equities, most of them in the banking sector. Jitco Guarantee Trust Bank doing 53.619 million shares, Transcorp, not left out, 32.168 million. And of course, United Bank for Africa, 18.185 million. Volume of its shares were actually traded. Of course, we have some equities that recorded losses today. Of course, one of them, Unilever, is there, 9.80%. Julius Berger, 9.64%. And of course, Prestige also down 8.93%. That's the highlight of the stock trading as it went down this Thursday on the floor of the Nigerian Exchange Group. Let's look at the stock market in Africa and, of course, the rest of the world. Now to the FX market now. According to data by the FMDQ Securities Exchange, which calculates currency rates, Naira weakened further against the US dollar at the NAFEM on Thursday as dollar supply declined by as much as 56.58%. Let's see how it ended trading today. Finally, in business, oil prices fall slightly on Thursday as the International Energy Agency flagged slowing demand growth this year, while a larger than expected jump in United States crude inventory also weighed. At the London market, Brent crude sells for $81 per barrel. For the oil basket, price steadies at $82 per barrel. And that's business. I am Yusuf Akogu.
Thank you, Yusuf Akogu. From the international scene, the South African military on Thursday said 2 of its soldiers were killed and 3 wounded when a mortar bomb landed inside a military base in Democratic Republic of Congo, where its troops are helping to fight armed groups. South Africa said earlier this week that it would send 2,900 troops as part of its contribution to a force deployed by Southern African Regional Bloc to help Congo address deteriorating security in the restive eastern region. The South African National Defense Force said in a statement posted on X that the mortar bomb landed inside one of the South African contingent's military bases on Wednesday. The SANDF added that an investigation into the incident will be conducted. And finally, let's join Adeni Ajishafe for sports news.
Nigeria's under-18 handball team has resumed intensive camp in Lagos ahead of the 2024 IHF Trophy Africa Zone 3 phase in Ghana. The phase will be held in Accra from 28th to 24th February 2024 and will serve as a qualifier for the Men's Youth Under-19 World Championship. The head coach of Nigeria Under-18 boys, Emeka Wamani, has invited 18 players who are presently undergoing preparations at the Royal Park Sports Center in Yaba, Lagos. To Marine Academy's Karim Farouk, Yusuf Sulaiman of Riemann Strikers, and Mohamed Mustafa of Confluence Stars are some of the players that make up the Under-18 men's national team. Nigeria's Under-18 will play a round-robin competition at the 2024 IHF Trophy African Zone 3 phase alongside Benin Republic and host Ghana. In table tennis, Africa's most decorated table tennis legend Segun Toriola will lead Nigeria's contingent to the 2024 ITTF World Team Table Tennis Championships (WTTC) taking place in Busan, South Korea from February 16 to 25th. Nigerian Table Tennis Federation (NTTF) said Toriola was picked based on his wealth of experience coupled with his cordial relationship with most of the top players in the national team. With the retirement of former national coach Nasiru Sule, Toriola became the best option to coach the team to the WTTC RDC, which also serves as a qualifying tournament for Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Nigerian men's team has been drawn against Japan, Chinese Taipei, Czech Republic, and Madagascar in Group 8, as the 8 groups of 5 countries each have been aiming to advance to the knockout rounds. In the women's category, the Nigerian team were also grouped against Germany, Slovakia, Poland, and Mexico. Nigerian delegation hopes for improved performance and a chance to claim the Olympic ticket for both men and women events. And in football, the good runs of Super Eagles at the just concluded Africa Cup of Nations has yielded dividends, as the team is now ranked number 3 in Africa and 28 in the world. Eagles move 14 steps up the ladder from their previous 42nd position. This is their best ranking since February 2008, when they ranked 19th in the world. Morocco, however, remained the highest ranked African team, despite not moving beyond the round of 16, where they were eliminated by South Africa. Nigeria's current point haul stands at 1,522.26, which is 141.43 behind that of Africa's number 1 team, Morocco. Stakeholders believe it will take a while before Nigeria gets to the number 1 position, which they last occupied in February 2008. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Achishafe.
And that is all on Trust News Hour. Thanks for joining us.